Imagine being buried alive under 6 feet of snow, your body temperature dropping until your heart stops beating. Imagine cutting off your own arm while trapped in a canyon with no water. Imagine falling 10,000 feet from the sky with no parachute and waking up alone in the jungle. These aren't movie plots. These aren't myths. These are real human beings who should not be alive, but they are, and their stories will change the way you think about human survival. Tonight, we'll travel from the frozen mountains of Norway to the deadly jungles of the Amazon, to the silent depths of the sea. These are 7 real people who survived the impossible, and what they did will stay with you forever. Aron Ralston. In April 2003, experienced hiker Aron Ralston ventures alone into Utah's Blue John Canyon. He tells no one exactly where he's going. As he descends into a narrow slot canyon, a boulder shifts above him. Before he can react, the massive rock falls, crushing his right arm against the canyon wall. He tries everything, pulling, pushing, twisting, screaming for help, but the canyon is silent. No signal, no rope, no one coming. Hours turn to days. He sips water sparingly, eats what little food he has, and records goodbye messages on his camera. He writes his name and date of birth on the canyon wall. Preparing for death, on the morning of the 5th day, dehydrated and hallucinating, Aron realizes something terrifying. He will die here unless he cuts off his arm. With a dull multi-tool, he attempts the impossible. He breaks his bones using torque, then he begins cutting through his arm. No anesthesia, no clean knife, just determination and pain so intense he nearly passes out multiple times. When the arm finally detaches, Aron wraps the stump, stands up, and climbs out of the canyon. He then rappels down a 65-foot cliff with one arm and walks 6 miles in the desert heat before encountering a family who calls for rescue. Aron saves himself in one of the most extreme acts of self-surgery in history, a decision that turns him into a symbol of relentless human will. Anna Bågenholm. In 1999, in the mountains of Norway, 29-year-old radiologist Anna Bågenholm is skiing with 2 colleagues. The snow seems solid, but beneath the surface runs a hidden stream. Anna loses her footing, and in an instant, the snow collapses beneath her. She plunges through ice-cold water, becoming trapped under an 8-inch sheet of ice. Her friends try to pull her out, lying flat, reaching down, using poles. Nothing works. The current forces her body under the ice, pinning her in place. She finds a tiny pocket of air and tries to breathe through it as the freezing water steals heat from her body faster than she can produce it. Minutes pass. 10 minutes. 20. 30. Her heartbeat slows, and then stops altogether. By the time rescue teams arrive, Anna has been trapped for 80 minutes. With 40 minutes of no heartbeat, by every medical standard she is dead. But the rescue team refuses to give up. They pull her out, initiate CPR, and rush her to the hospital where doctors decide to try something radical, an ECMO machine. They remove her blood, warm it outside her body and pump it back in, slowly attempting to restart the system. Her core temperature is 13.7 degrees Celsius, 56.6 degrees Fahrenheit, the lowest ever recorded in a human who would survive. Hours pass, still nothing, and then faintly, a pulse, weak, slow, but real. Anna wakes up days later in intensive care, alive, conscious, her brain mostly intact. Her heart had stopped for 40 minutes, yet the extreme cold protected her organs long enough for doctors to revive her. She becomes the woman who returned from the dead, literally frozen and resurrected. Tsutomu Yamaguchi. In August 1945, an engineer named Tsutomu Yamaguchi is in Hiroshima on a temporary assignment for Mitsubishi Heavy Industries. On the morning of August 6th, he is walking to work when he sees a flash of light brighter than anything he has ever seen. The explosion from the atomic bomb throws him to the ground and severely burns him. He survives the blast and spends the night in a shelter. The next day, despite his injuries, he returns to his home city, Nagasaki, to be reunited with his family. He reports to his workplace and describes the devastation he witnessed in Hiroshima. And then, unbelievably, on August 9th, another atomic bomb is dropped on Nagasaki. Yamaguchi survives this second explosion as well. He shelters with colleagues, suffering additional injuries from the blast and radiation. Over the following days, he experiences the classic symptoms of radiation sickness: fever, hair loss, weakness, yet he manages to recover. His story later becomes officially acknowledged in Japan, and he is recognized as one of the very few people documented to have experienced and survived both nuclear bombings. Yamaguchi spends much of his later life speaking publicly about the horrors of nuclear war and urging nuclear disarmament. His survival is not a mythic tale of walking through fire unscathed. It is the story of a man who lived through two of history's greatest tragedies and used his experience to advocate for peace. Stephen Callahan. In 1982, sailor Stephen Callahan sets out across the Atlantic in a small boat. For days the sea is calm, until a sudden storm tears into his vessel. A massive impact punctures the hull, and Stephen has seconds to launch his tiny life raft before the ocean swallows everything. Alone, adrift, with barely any supplies, he begins what will become a 76-day survival odyssey. He captures rainwater using improvised containers. He designs a makeshift spear to catch fish. Sunlight blisters his skin. Saltwater soars open on his body. Sharks circle the raft day and night, bumping it, testing it. His mind begins to fracture. He imagines voices. He talks to himself, to the sea, to the stars. Some nights he believes he might simply drift forever until nothing remains of him. Yet he keeps repairing his damaged raft, keeps fishing, keeps drinking whatever water he can collect. He drifts over 1,800 miles before fishermen near the Caribbean spot the tiny raft with a man barely alive inside. Stephen Callahan survives more than 2 months alone at sea, one of the longest recorded life raft ordeals in history. Joe Simpson. In 1985, in the Peruvian Andes, two young British climbers, Joe Simpson and Simon Yates, attempt a route that has never been completed before, the west face of Sula Grande. They reach the summit, but the descent becomes a fight for survival. Joe slips on ice and suffers a catastrophic injury. His right leg shatters, leaving him unable to stand, much less climb. Simon refuses to abandon him. Using ropes, he lowers Joe down the mountain in long sections. But a storm moves in, wind and snow blinding them. At one point, Joe is accidentally lowered over the edge of a cliff. Simon cannot see him, cannot hear him, and has no idea that Joe is hanging in midair. What Simon does know is that he is being pulled toward the edge himself, and both men may fall for more than an hour. Simon holds the rope in brutal conditions. His hands go numb, the rope cutting into his gloves. Realizing he may die, he makes the most devastating decision of his life. He cuts the rope, believing Joe has already fallen to his death, but Joe has not died. He lands in a crevasse instead of plunging off the mountain. Somehow still conscious, he drags himself out of the crevasse and begins crawling back toward their base camp. The journey takes days. He crawls over ice, rock, and snow, with a destroyed leg, almost no food or water, barely awake. But he keeps going, centimeter by centimeter. Simon, devastated and certain Joe is gone, waits at camp for as long as he dares before preparing to leave. But just before Simon departs, he hears a sound at the edge of camp. A faint, broken voice calling his name. Joe has crawled all the way back. The two climbers reunite, both stunned that Joe is still alive. Joe Simpson's survival becomes one of the most iconic mountaineering stories ever recorded, not because he was unhurt or lucky, but because he refused to give up even after everyone else believed he had already died. Juliane, Koepcke. On Christmas Eve, 1971, 17-year-old Juliane Koepcke boards Lanza Flight 508 with her mother. They're heading from Lima into the Peruvian rainforest, a route known for turbulent weather. But what no one knows is that a violent storm is forming directly ahead. As the aircraft pushes into the clouds, lightning surrounds them like a glowing cage. Suddenly, a blinding flash strikes the plane. Juliane hears an explosion. The cabin tears apart. The world becomes a roar of wind and chaos, and then silence. She's falling, still strapped to her seat, spinning through the air at nearly 10,000 feet. Trees rush upward. Then, blackness. Juliane wakes on the jungle floor. The canopy above her blocks out the sky. Her collarbone is broken. Her arm is swollen. One sandal is missing, her glasses shattered. The jungle hums around her. Insects, birds, croaking, dripping water. She calls out for her mother. No response. Most people would break here, alone, injured, deep in the Amazon. But Juliane remembers something her biologist parents taught her. When lost, follow water. Water always leads to people. So she begins walking. Day after day, she pushes through vines, mud, swarms of insects. She drinks river water despite knowing parasites thrive in it. She sleeps on the forest floor, rain pouring on her body like a second skin. Her wounds become infested with maggots. At one point, she finds pieces of the crash and bodies of passengers she knew. but she forces herself to keep going. On day 11, weak and barely conscious, she sees something that shouldn't exist out here, a small wooden hut. She collapses near it. A group of local lumbermen find her and stare in disbelief. This girl has walked out of one of the deadliest environments on Earth. They treat her wounds, carry her to a nearby village, then to a hospital. Juliane becomes the sole survivor of Flight 508, a fall from the sky, an 11-day trek through hell, and she lived. Tham Luang Cave Rescue. In June 2018, 12 boys from the Wild Boars soccer team and their coach enter the Tham Luang Cave system in northern Thailand. They plan for a short trip, but seasonal rains arrive early. Floodwaters rise quickly behind them, blocking their exit and forcing them deeper into the cave. Days pass with no sign of the team. Nearly the entire cave system is submerged. International rescue teams, divers, engineers, and volunteers gather outside as the world watches. Navigating the cave is extremely dangerous. Long underwater passages, tight rock squeezes, strong currents, and near total darkness. After 10 days of searching, 2 British cave divers finally reach a dry chamber 4 kilometers inside the cave. When their lights sweep across the rock, they see something extraordinary: all 12 boys and their coach, alive. Getting them out is the next challenge. Many parts of the cave are fully flooded. The boys are weak, tired, and cannot dive. Experts from around the world collaborate on a daring rescue plan. Each boy will be escorted out by divers through the submerged passages, using full face masks and controlled sedation so they don't panic underwater. It is one of the most complicated cave rescues in history. Over 3 days, divers bring the boys out one by one, navigating narrow, twisting underwater corridors while carrying the children safely through. To the astonishment of the world, all 13 members of the team are successfully rescued. The operation becomes a global example of what human coordination, bravery, and precision can achieve. What do all these survivors have in common? They didn't have superpowers. They didn't have perfect conditions. Most of them didn't even have hope, but they had one thing left: the will to live, even when everything else was gone. Juliane walked out of a jungle that should have killed her. Anna came back from a temperature colder than death. Aron cut himself free when no one was coming. Stephen fought an ocean alone. Joe crawled when his body said no. Yamaguchi endured the unendurable. And a group of boys in Thailand trusted strangers who risked everything to bring them home. These stories aren't about miracles. They're about something deeper. The moment a human being says, "I refuse to die today." And that moment, that spark, exists in all of us. Life will trap you, freeze you, bury you, break you. But if these survivors teach us anything, it's this: as long as you take one more breath, one more step, one more try, the impossible can become possible. Thank you for watching 7 real people who survived the impossible. Stay curious, stay strong, and remember, you carry the same fire that kept every one of them alive.